Today I'm joined by Vera Vigh, who is an expat psychologist and a career coach. Hi, Vera.
Nice here again.
Today we are going to dive into the topic of relationships. That is one of the most important parts of our lives. And when we move abroad, we can really face a lot of challenges regarding relationships. So, what is your experience in general regarding building new relationships in a new country?
Depends so much on the country. Like first time when I left for a longer period, it was to the Netherlands. Culture, especially with relationship, was so different than Hungary. Like a bit clueless. That culture is a lot colder than the Hungarian one. So building relationship was not easy. I think that, okay, after 1 or 2 months, I will have a very close friend, right? Uh, yeah, why not? I always had that. It's so difficult. Then I was hearing others as well, like, yeah, well, in the Netherlands, it takes like 10 years until you can get into the circle. But once you have a Dutch friend, you have a Dutch friend forever. So it
Oh,
was,
really?
yeah, yeah, yes. And after like 4 years, I managed to make very good friendships, but it was really challenging compared to Spain. Korean culture, so people are a lot more easygoing, they are more open. So it's a warmer culture, for example, than the Hungarian one.
Do you have Spanish friends?
And yet,
Because I don't. That's why I'm asking. Like, my experience is that, yes, they are more open. Many people say that Valencia region is very special compared to other parts of Spain where people are more open, that the Valencian people are more closed. They have their families and friends. They are not looking for new relationships and new friendships. But of course, they are smiling more. They are warm people here. But I've been living here for 6 years now, and I have one Spanish friend. She's from Madrid.
I think it's a common struggle. Been in touch with a lot of expats, either professionally or just, just being friends. And most of them experience the same in each country. Because if you think about it, I'm living there for maybe forever. Have their friends from childhood or from school, university. I'm really looking for new friendships.
Yeah, I understand it because I was the same. I was the same in Slovakia. I wasn't looking for new friends. I knew everyone around me, and for me, it was
Mhm.
sufficient.
Yes, and in the beginning, it really hurt me that I'm not able to make friends that quickly. I thought like the problem is with me. And then as I have been expats and moved countries um, more, more often, more countries, I realized this is just like one of the challenge in general in expat life.
Um, do you have any recommendation where to start
Yes,
finding new friends?
it always starts with self-awareness to first of all to accept that you are in a different situation than in your home country. Now, the most important thing is to be open-minded and proactive. Not necessarily just gonna come to you. So you have to actively seek for friends, for relationships. For example, there are many of these expat platforms which organize activities. Here in Valencia, the Valencia language exchange is great. Or yeah, the Girls Gone International. Many Facebook group or Eventbrite. There are a lot of different events. Locals are joining there, so it's a great way to meet both internationals and locals. It's very scary, I know, but to directly reach out to people who you have something in common, to send them a private message, yeah.
And most people who go to language exchange, they want to meet new people. You are not going to be the weird one,
Exactly.
without friends because they are in the same situation. I guess there are people who are more scared of social interactions. So for them, it can be more difficult.
And in this case, when someone is more introvert or do not want to jump into, I've been, for example, in the salsa language exchange, and it was great, but it's a lot of people. Not everyone is comfortable with that. In this case, maybe it's a better to reach out to a couple of people personally and first meet for a coffee or tea, and then you can also go together to events.
How stable are the new relationships?
Sometimes you just have friends for a couple of months. And I'm also the same that we want to build relationships for a long term. But sometimes relationships for a specific period of our lives. And that's okay. Because imagine that, for example, here in Valencia, maybe you have a friend for 2 years until they are staying, but you can really connect because together build a frame of reference. Helps you in every day to get over maybe struggles which you're facing with the culture here, but yeah, with job seeking, anything else which comes with expat challenges. Mindset that we should not expect the same which we had back home with childhood friends.
Yeah, I was thinking about this one day, and I just realized that my most stable relationships are coming from the youth.
Yeah.
So I will never be that young again, and I will never go to high school again. So I guess it also changes with age. People are different as they are getting older. So this is not probably only because of building relationships in a new environment, but we have different preferences.
Let's think about it. In our home countries, when people are getting older, they are also not necessarily making new friendships. Something very natural and typical that most close friendship has been built in the youth or during the university years. While living in your home country, you have many people to choose from, and you're not choosing everyone to be a friend.
Yeah.
And move abroad, yeah, well, there is the language barrier, of course, but you have just a smaller pool of people you can from.
Not only that, but you also have this need and necessity. We are desperate to get new friends, then we take anyone because we need
Yes,
them.
that's so true. To be giving a chance to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's not working out. But other times, to give a couple of chances to someone to see whether it's gonna work out. Yeah, you don't have the point of reference. And I really noticed this when I went from Hungary to the Netherlands. I thought yeah, it's very cool to be Hungarian. Why not? I never left my country. And then I went there and I realized, oh, they do not see Hungary as a cool country. They don't know where Hungary is. They think I speak Polish or Russian. That's the two options.
Really?
Yes. Actually, I also got it here in Spain. They just don't know where Hungary is. And
They
that's
don't know where Slovakia is, but I have never heard that someone would think that I speak Polish, but Russian, yes, that's true.
yeah, yes. And also to face sometimes prejudices. And that was really difficult for me to have first of all, I felt like Hungary is Central Europe, right? We always say at home that we are living in the heart of Europe. Um, and I have found that, well, here in Spain and the Netherlands, I'm seen as an Eastern European.
Yeah.
And it comes sometimes with prejudices. Really hard for me to break it. To get to the point that no, what other people think here or what the locals think here, it does not affect my identity.
It really takes ages to get to know someone. I think that sometimes we don't have enough patience to wait until we get to know the person and we can quit really fast.
I also see that because there is not the same point of reference and your reaction different. Maybe it's misunderstood. Well, this is also something I'm in an intercultural relationship with my Dutch husband. I think we had to learn how to communicate. So like over communicating sometimes, explaining where I'm coming from. And it's often it's culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very interesting because we are so different. Different point of views, different reactions. I'm very straightforward, so I don't like playing these games, and many people don't like it. I guess I would be more acceptable as a person for more people if I was different.
In the first years, I experienced that, and I was very young. So it's also like the phase when your identity is still shaping. That is there something wrong with me? Should I be different than who I am just to be accepted in a new country and in a new culture? And then I realized, no, not necessarily. I have to learn the culture and pick up those cues to be able to communicate and get along with people. I do not think you have to change yourself to be fully integrated.
Yeah, there are those parts where we can adjust
Yeah,
and we are not changing our identity. I think there are like limits
yeah.
where we shouldn't go. Tried to adopt. This is our responsibility in a new country as a foreigner, but we shouldn't change completely.
There's some research on that. When like expats or immigrants who live longer in a country, they completely assimilate to the culture and they are losing their identity. And why it can be tricky from a psychological perspective, because your home culture also comes with collective conscientious. I think this is the can feed a certain type of stress and anxiety which you can only understand in a cultural context. For example, dealing with uncertainty. The history of the Hungarian nations and many things happened there. This is more of a struggle for Hungarians than it would be for Dutch people, or maybe for Spanish people as well. So being aware where you're coming from is very important. And the other thing which I notice why this period of living abroad can be tricky for mental health as well, because relationships are very fragile and it can bring up attachment issues, for example. If you have not been dealing or processing these kind of things back to your home country, or you're escaping because your relationship went very badly, and I'm not talking about abuse in general, just like being there a pattern, it's not necessarily going to be better abroad either, because then this is a pattern which you have need to work on
Yeah.
and get over it. And yeah, it's a misconception about expat life and relationships as well, that if I get away from my country, everything is gonna be fine. No,
No,
it's not
because
true.
you are taking yourself with you anywhere you go.
Absolutely. And
So,
you can oppress it, you can try to ignore it at some point, especially when we talk about relationships, whether it's friendships or romantic relationships, it's gonna come up.
one example came into my mind. What is one of my obstacles, how to have more friends here, is that I can't adopt to one cultural thing in Spain, and it is having dinners that late. If I'm invited to go out for a dinner, I just refuse because they meet at 9:30, 10,
Yeah.
first having drinks, then starting eating, then going somewhere, I don't know, to a bar, to a concert. I just can't adopt. I could have more friends or more active social life, but this is like who I am. I can go out for lunch, I can go out for a whole day, but then I'm going to bed early. So,
This is such a good example of self-awareness, and during the period of living abroad to deeply get to know yourself, because there might be like new things which you're going to find, it's super cool in this culture, I want to adopt that. But with other things like what you just mentioned, that you need your sleep simply, it's a must have. This is a non-negotiable.
yeah, exactly.
And when you live abroad, this like getting to know yourself process become even more prevalent. You're gonna start to question things which is the most basics.
Yeah.
Like when to eat, like during the day. This is or what to eat, what to wear, like the most basic needs.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Things that you
questioned.
completely forgot when you lived in your country.
Yeah, which was so
Completely.
automatic.
Hmm.
And now you have to think about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it starts with shopping, just going out for
Yeah.
shopping. It can be so exhausting because you don't know the products, you don't know the language sometimes. So you can buy different things as you wanted.
Yeah. And it can be so overwhelming. Yeah.
We should mention the perspective of the challenges. Like every challenge is here to teach us something. And when we look at this, it's our opportunity to get better, to grow, at the end, to be happier.
Oh, as a person. Yeah, because the comfort zone is very comfortable. It's not only comfortable if things are going well, but if things are going bad as well, because you got used to the bad and it's good. And when we, for example, talk about isolation and loneliness as an expat in a new country, you can choose to be comfortable in isolation,
Yeah.
not stepping out anymore because no, just staying at home, not like just online everything. But once you step out of your comfort zone, you're gonna go into the learning zone. What I wanna mention here is that it's good to be careful because if there is too much challenges, too much learning, then you can fall into this panic fear zone when the challenge is like overtaking you, and then it causes a lot of stress and anxiety.
We shouldn't forget about ourselves and dedicate time for sleep, good nutrition, exercise, meditation, like anything that can release the stress because it's very stressful.
Yeah, very good self-care. And the other thing I also observed with clients is self-sabotaging beliefs abroad. That many times when we think we have a challenge, difficult to do things, it can be very simple, just for example, go to like the help center, the Centro de Salud here and book an appointment for the doctor. We have this self-sabotaging belief that I cannot do it because of the language barrier, they're gonna laugh at me. So like I'm postponing, procrastinating all the time. Or starting your business abroad. It's not gonna work out. And I never done it before. I'm not good at this.
Yeah. I
So
still
many
don't know the
times,
language. I don't
yeah,
know people.
not gonna work. I'm gonna fail. So many of these times, like, yeah, the challenge is real, but the real challenge maybe it's like the self-sabotaging belief within us, which is like prevent us to actually just go and do it.
Yeah. Sometimes we just have to take a deep breath and just do it.
Yes,
Just go out, take action, and it will somehow show itself where to go, what to do.
and and it can be difficult. But for example, that's why Facebook groups is also good. Like you can, for example, send out a message that I want to do, I don't know, Zumba. Is there anyone who wants to join me? And then you don't have to do it alone anymore. Yeah, so it can be very small changes, but can make a big impact.
When we talked before, you mentioned the paradox of knowing a lot of people but not counting on anyone at the end. Can we elaborate on this?
Um, what I see personally, one of the biggest challenge with expat life is, yeah, meeting so many interesting people. But at the same time, okay, so what happens if I get sick, for example, and then need a little bit of help? Like who would be the person who is willing to, I don't know, for example, do shopping for me, not big things, or lend a car, who can I really count on? because it can be a very lonely place in a sense. People back home, yeah, first of all, they often do not understand what you are going through, but maybe they also cannot help because of, like the distance,
Mm-hmm.
like the physical distance um, between between the countries. But also because, especially if you're living abroad for like several years, then the path of life just go to a different direction. So in the end, you can find yourself like at a pretty lonely place with the idea like, okay, I have to solve my own problems. So I always advise that if it's possible, it's good to invest in a couple of relationships abroad. If you know that you are staying, to look for people who has the same intention and build proactively a relationship there.
What are your clients' experiences with romantic relationships? Are they even harder, more difficult to achieve?
Yes. Unfortunately, statistically, there are more breakups and divorces among intercultural relationships. Um,
What about people who come as partners to a new country? Can the whole expat experience and the challenges lead to break the relationship?
so many. On one sense, it's logical because you can prepare for moving a country, but when you are here, you realize, oh, maybe I do not want this. So I know about many people when, for example, the marriage failed, when they moved to a different country because one person realized this is not for me to live abroad, so went back. But for the other person, a completely new world opened up.
Mm-hmm.
So they choose something else. So the path, yeah, just split. Are also the group of people, and I also belong to this one, who went abroad and find long-term relationships abroad. Here, as I mentioned, like communication and really investing and getting to know each other, it's very important.
So we have to be active and try to solve the problems to get better maybe in communication because it's like more difficult than to be with a person from your culture.
The point of reference is different. So if you just, there are of course like personality differences as well, but for some culture it's more like avoiding, any conflicts. So those pain points we are never gonna be spoken about. By other cultures, I'm very temperamental, and sometimes the reaction is it means something else. It's just like the way of expressing.
Yes.
And I think like this is one of the most important topic for me, relationships. Like my personal view on is that if you really want to work, like if you really want to make it work, yeah, for me, for example, being a wife, it's a full-time job. If I if I want my relationship to be long-term and we want to get old together, then I have to always prioritize it. So
And then with children, it even gets more complicated.
very complex to raise multicultural family. And many people are, it's, yeah, it's one of the biggest challenge I'm also seeing.
Can open completely different perspectives in romantic relationships or the normal ones. Because I got to know so many people from from different cultures.
The same experience. Like I remember when I moved abroad, the whole world opened up. And I was always a person who was really interested in culture in different countries, but I did not have the opportunity to travel a lot before. So personally, I really think any kind of international environment is is a fit for me. But it's also, for example, I had clients who moved abroad with family and everything, and then After like 3 years, they came to the conclusion that this is not for them. That for them, like a homogeneous culture, it's just, yeah, it's just a better fit. So they decided it was not easy to move back.
It's good because they found out what they really wanted. I think, as you also mentioned once, that the grass is greener on the other
Yeah,
side. Sometimes we have to live it to get it.
yeah. And I think spending 1 or 2 years abroad, everyone could benefit from it. From a self-awareness, self-learning perspective as well, but also to start to appreciate things more in your home culture, to start to appreciate your closer circle of family more, and also to open up for new ideas. Yeah, to accept people, to break those prejudices and stereotypes.
Yeah, I would say that for me it was one of the best things that I could do. I realized so many things about my own life, about
Yeah,
myself. Some of them hurt, some
yeah,
of them benefited me. And yeah, it's just, it's an adventure for sure.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, the same here. And it does not mean that I do not love my country. I love Hungary. Um, but as I'm also in an intercultural relationship, now the life what I'm living just makes sense. Yeah.
Relationship. What would you tell our listeners when it is the right moment to seek professional help?
One is moving or planning to move to a new country, especially with family or with a stable relationship. I would say it's already good to ask for help before moving because the moving period will be very intense. The other moment is when someone is already living abroad but experiencing increased stress, bad sleep, and the fear of stepping out of a comfort zone, feeling isolated or feel like stuck, doesn't know what to do and how to deal with life abroad, and just wants change, a more fulfilling relationships, better self-esteem, and building self-confidence abroad.
Okay, you mentioned the family. So, how does it work? One person from the family should get in touch with you, or you work with the whole family, or only with the adults, or how it really looks like.
Dream one day that I would be also able to do family therapy, but at the moment I'm only working with individuals or couples, like
Couples,
with
yeah,
adults.
that's
Yeah,
great.
that's one day because if there is something like more serious or maybe family traumas there, I would definitely advise for the whole family to go into like a more serious therapy.
Thank you very much. And if you liked our conversation, subscribe.
Thank you, everyone.